Welcome to the Libs of TikTok experience. I have with me here today two wonderful women, Elle and Fran, and they have a really insane story. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to let them tell it. This is an exclusive story. You've never heard this before, and it's going to shock you. So, without further ado, welcome, Elle and Fran. How are
Hi,
you guys today?
good. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yes.
Of course. So, Fran, can you tell us, just in short, your side of the story? What happened?
My husband had MS, and to keep busy, he decided he took over this Long Beach Lakewood MS support group. And I helped him, of course, all the time. And when he passed away, which is 20 years ago, I decided to keep the group going because everyone wanted to continue it.
How many years were you involved with the MS Society?
About 60 years.
6D with the
Six,
zero.
60.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, my
Yeah.
And
husband, and then I took over, I kept it going. And when he passed away,
so your husband was running this organization to help and support MS patients, and you were in volunteer with the MS Society. You've been doing this for 60 years.
Yes.
yeah,
Um, And then you took over when your husband passed away. And then recently you had some kind of interaction with a representative from the MS Society where she asked you to use your pronouns. So when she first asked you that, I mean, what was your reaction? What was your response?
I was confused. I didn't know what it was, what it meant. And I'd seen it on a couple of letters that had come in after the person's name. They had the pronouns, but I didn't know what that meant. And so finally, when I was talking to her, I thought, I'll ask, what does it mean? And, let her tell me. And so she said it meant that they were all inclusive, which didn't make sense to me because it sounds like you're
By
uh,
labeling or
labeling for females and not males if you're just putting in she, her.
she said that she was just asking her what it meant to have a conversation. So as a 90-year-old who didn't know what it meant, she's not street savvy to find out what it meant.
Yeah.
And when she said that they were required to use it to be inclusive, and my mom was saying
I,
that we've always been the MS Society as a whole and the Long
and the
Beach
group.
group has just always been inclusive.
A few days later, it was on a Friday at was it
At
4:58?
4:58, which we thought was odd, but anyway.
At the end of the day, end of the week, I got an email from her saying that they were sorry, but they had to ask me to step down as a volunteer for the MS Society.
And the reason being is that you're not inclusive enough.
The
I
verbiage she said
is that what?
was that she didn't abide by their diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they have
Yeah.
to ask her to step down, and she's can't be a part of the MS Society as a volunteer, which
As
to
a
me is
volunteer.
ironic because they're saying they're being inclusive, but yet they're excluding a 90-year-old disabled woman who
Who's
volunteers
volunteer?
for over 60 years, and literally the sole purpose is to help the MS patients and find a cure
That's what we're there for.
keep helping with volunteering as much as she can, which has literally been her
My
whole
whole
life. That's literally all she does. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It sounds like diversity, equity, and inclusion actually means excluding those who will not fall in line and conform to whatever these radical gender ideologists want
yeah,
to
Yes,
install.
yeah.
exactly.
And
Right.
it's sad because they're losing. I don't know what other people they've lost or what other people they will exclude from that, but they're losing. A volunteer who's won multiple awards and from the MS Society itself. And my
Yeah.
dad got MS Father of the Year, National MS Father of the Year, and they, flew him out to meet the president to get the award from him with my mom and
With
dad,
us. Yeah.
and to present the president with award for helping with the MS Readathon, which they help
We did
run
it
as
too.
well. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of it's kind of astounding. And
Yeah.
I know you were shocked. And
Oh,
when you
I was completely shocked
Yeah.
as I read that. I couldn't believe that. And I had to read it a couple times to see if I'm getting this, getting what she said.
So you're volunteering for 60 years. You
Yes.
gave your life to this organization. You honored your late husband, and it's just all they just they take it away from you in a split second and throw you under the bus just because you did not understand why someone who is a woman needs to have the words she her in their email signature.
Right.
Yeah. And it's
Right.
just sad that they're discriminating against her. I mean, MS doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anybody. Anybody can get the disease. And
Right.
yet they're discriminating against her,
Trying to help those that
that's
have the
trying to help.
disease.
So
Yeah.
just because she asked a question to explain what, the pronouns were. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's worse is if the MS Society is focusing on these words and these pronouns, and they've lost their focus on finding a cure for MS and helping the patients and all the programs that go along with that. So I don't know if they've just lost their focus. But it's a sad day, I think, and it's
They're harming MS patients who might not get support through your group that you've been running,
yeah,
and they're obviously harming a 90-year-old woman who has been a volunteer for 60 years,
right.
and is now just thrown out like that. I
Yeah.
mean, Fran, what are you what are you feeling?
I'm just upset and disappointed in them. Um, my thoughts were, well, I'm going to keep this group going like I have all these years anyway, because I want to keep it going. And the patients that come want to keep going. We discussed it at our meeting just briefly. And the people just, you could tell they were just shocked when we told them. They just kind of held their breath. They didn't understand that this could happen to our group too.
And what are you hoping to accomplish by sharing your story with the world?
Well, to let other people know that this can happen. It shouldn't happen, but it can. And I hope there's a way to alleviate it, that it wouldn't happen to someone else. And hopefully I'll be able to get this straightened out. Uh, and I will continue doing what I'm doing.
One last question, because I have you here. You're 90 years old. Now you see what's going on in the country right now, in the culture wars right now. What is one piece of advice that you can give the next generation?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point.
Oh, I can
Maybe
tell
you
you
can help me.
what she does without saying is that her message, I think,
Yes, yes,
to the future generations is you just keep going, you find a way, and you do the right thing, which she's always done
I've done that.
for thousands. I don't know how many people that they've helped, and you just keep going and doing it because it's the right thing to do. See
Yeah, I mean, that
yourself.
is very inspiring, and I love your attitude. You're very strong.
Yeah, I'm
It's
trying to be. I'm keeping strong and trying to help others as well as myself.
Yeah, well, keep it up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that by sharing your story with the world, we can help inspire people, and maybe make some changes in the MS society.
I
Yeah,
hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for the interview. It was very nice. Very
Of
nice of you.
course.
Thank you for letting the people know. I think it's important as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Elle.